so let's practice factoring. This is a second example, 3x squared minus 16x minus 12. So first thing we look at, is there a GCF? And there isn't. There's no number that divides into all three of these terms evenly. And then let's look at the signs. So in order to multiply to be negative, remember that means our signs are going to be opposite. So we're going to have to deal with that. So without writing all those steps again, what I usually do when we're factoring trial and error is first draw our first sets of parentheses. And all we're going to look at is our first term. And that's 3x squared. And this is a little bit easier because 3 is prime. So our only option is 3x times x. That's the only thing that will multiply to be 3x squared. 3 times 1. Okay, so then we're going to look at our last term, and it's negative 12. So over here I'm going to write down negative 12 and just say our options. We actually have a lot because we could have negative 1 and 12, 1 and negative 12, right? 2 and negative 6, negative 2 and 6. I'm going to go over here. I could have negative 3 and 4, or 3 and negative 4. So there's a lot of options. And when I'm dealing with something like this, I usually start with the ones that are the closest together. It might not work, but it will work more often than like negative 1 and 12 will, especially because my middle term is 16. It's not a huge number. So always start there, and then you can change it if it's not working. So I could pick any one of these, and I'm going to try, and neither one of these might work. So this is the trial and error. So I'll actually do this in green to show I don't know if it works yet. So I'm going to try a negative 3 and a positive 4. And remember, I know my first terms and my last term work, so what we need to check is whether our outside and our inside terms add up to be a negative 16x. So let's go ahead and multiply, and I get a positive 12, and my inside terms are negative 3x, and I can already see there's no way that's going to add to be negative 16. That's a positive 9. Okay, so that doesn't work. So we're going to switch the negative 3 and the positive 4. I'm going to put the 4 and then the 3. And it doesn't matter, you could pick, you know, whichever one you want to put as positive or negative. So let's just try negative 4 and positive 3. I can always change it. And let's check, and I get my outside terms are 9x and my inside terms are negative 4x. And again, this is not in any way going to add to be negative 16. So I can, if I change my sign, I'm still not going to get a negative 16. So we're going to go to the next two to try. So we're going to try, we've tried those and these don't work. Let's try the next two of 2 and negative 6. So whichever one we want to try first. Let's just go in the order. So positive 2, negative 6, and we'll see if this works. And my outside terms are a negative 18x, and my inside terms are a positive 2x, and you can see that this is going to actually add to be a negative 16x. So we have factored this. So I can put this in blue to show that this is what works. So 3x plus 2 times x minus 6 is what this factors to be. Okay, let's do the same thing with example 3, 35x squared plus 22x plus 3. There's no GCF. Multiplies to be positive and adds to be positive means both my signs are positive. Okay, so for our first terms, this is the first time we've had one that's not prime. We have a 35x squared. So my options are 35 times 1 or 7 times 5. And again, because this middle term is not huge, I think it's going to be closer to the 7 and 5. So I'm going to start with that. If it doesn't work, then I'll try the 35 and 1. So I'm going to do 7x and 5x for my first terms. Now our last term is a positive 3. 3 is prime, so that helps us. So my only option is 3 and 1, and it's a matter of where they go. So I'm going to put the 3 here and the 1 here, and we're going to check to see whether it works. So we're going to check our outside terms and our inside terms. And our outside terms multiply to be 7x, and our inside terms multiply to be 15x. And when you add those, we actually got this the first time. Those add to be 22x, so we have solved it.